Welcome everybody to another video of Vinyl Addict. This is Chili and this is video 3 of my 7-part video series on my 100 favorite English albums. Okay, so we're gonna do numbers 70 to 56. And before I get into this, please don't forget to hit the like button, comment on this video, share this video. And if you still haven't, please subscribe to the channel by hitting the notification bell and receiving updates. And with that out of the way, okay, let's get into this. So my first choice here, my first pick is the Arctic Monkeys. Okay, this came out, this is like 2006. I'm pretty much doing albums from the 60s all the way up to recent times. There's some things here, some things there, and when this came out, this is their debut. A friend of mine was playing this for me, and I just was just kind of just floored from every moment of while it was playing. I just liked it. You know what I mean? It was weird. It was never something I had to go, oh, put that. Yeah, I mean, there was a put that on again, of course, we did. However, it was just like everything that was going on in this album. There was all kinds of different like genres kind of displayed on here, whether it was like alternative punk, post-punk, garage. It was all in here, and it was a... I went out and got my own. Whatever people say I am, that's not it. That's what I'm not, and it's a long title. However, the albums that followed this didn't sound like this, and I mean they would go 180 on their next albums and stuff like that. But this is the one that grabbed me, and I liked this one, and so I started it off with Arctic Monkeys. Now we go to the 70s, and we got Hawkwind. Now this is a psychedelic band, and this is from 1972, In Search of Space. And just gonna try to get through all these really quick, but this is the time when they had these kind of like really cool album type covers. This kind of opens up like this, like that, and yes, this kind of space rock. This is, I guess, the invention of space rock is what they would call it. And I do a series on stoner side space and prog, and this one certainly needs to be addressed because this is one of those bands that we hear a lot of, and it's been talked about, and but they hardly get their due. But and this is not the one with Lemmy. Lemmy from Motorhead would be on their later stuff, but this is like their second album, and it's really kind of just really good psychedelic rock, and just kind of puts you in a different place. And that is my number 69. Now 68. Here we go. We're going with ABC. I think this is their third or fourth album. This one had the songs Be Near Me and How to Be a Millionaire, which was around this time. But this is 85. Yes, this is around, bands were always kind of talking about greed and yuppies and kind of that thing, because people were like making a lot of money, and so that was this thing here. They sold a lot of albums and made a lot of money. So there's the irony on that, and that was like the main focal theme here. But yes, and they pretty much changed their look. There's Martin Fry. And there was only 2 people that stayed in this band while the original ones left. It's Mark White. And then they had this woman, Eden, and this other guy here. But it was a totally different band. And it was this album was more electronic. I liked it. It was every single album, just like Arctic Monkeys, was really different from each other. Okay, so now Going from that, we go to number 67. Now, this is not, is sort of a musician, but he's not, but this is Mark Ronson. And this came out in 2015. And he's a producer, so, and a DJ, and he's produced Amy Winehouse, Adele, all these types of people. I consider him sort of like a English Quincy Jones, and he just has a bunch of people on here, and these are his songs, of course, but he has people like whether Stevie Wonder on the opening track playing harmonica, or Bruno Mars, of course, doing the uptown funk, and Mystical is on here with Feel Right and everything. And this is a nice yellow vinyl. So, yes, we got, I'm trying to go through all kinds of different things that I remember, and yeah, he is to me like a great kind of like I said, a Quincy Jones, but the English version. So after that, we go to number 66, and we go to Howard Jones. Now this is Dream into Action, and he really broke through in America with the song Things Can Only Get Better. And there was a bunch of other ones on here. New Day, of course, and what was that, New Day? Life in One Day. That was the one. Yeah, but Things Can Only Get Better is, I have the 12-inch version of that too. I really fell for that song when it came out. And great track, great album, Howard Jones. And number 64, this band here, Arcadia. Now this is the time when Duran Duran split up in two groups. You had Andy and John doing Power Station with Robert Palmer and Tony Thompson. And then the other three, Simon Le Bon, Nick Rhodes, Roger Taylor on drums, go and do Arcadia. Okay, so as they go on and do their kind of like hard rock kind of, funk thing, these guys go on and do, it seems like a Duran Duran album, but with some other guests. There's David Gilmour on guitar. You got people like Sting, Herbie Hancock is on here. So it's like people jamming with Duran Duran. That's how I figure it is. Steve Jordan, who's now, of course, with the Rolling Stones. So Election Day was the song on here. I really liked this album. It was, it's sort of just like it was the Duran Duran album that wasn't a Duran Duran album, but kind of is, but, it's just those three guys, but, it was still some trippy kind of things that they were doing, much more like it's like an album of deep cuts from Duran Duran with great other guests coming in like Herbie Hancock, Sting, and David Gilmour. So Arcadia. Okay, so now we go to 65. We had one Gallagher, so here's the other. Noel Gallagher's third album, Who Built the Moon. People say that it's just like, this is Noel Gallagher doing kind of like LCD sounds system kind of stuff, or Chemical Brothers stuff, but it's pretty psychedelic too. Yeah, and it's sort of like these album covers, like this one. This is really cool. It's sort of like now like who had the idea for the last Oasis album. Dig into Truth, how it looked all weird and psychedelic, and I think that was coming from Noel's mind. But there was a lot of great songs on here. Of course, this debuted at number 1, like all his other stuff, and like Liam's. However, I did like how, I guess in reflection, when you listen to a Noel album, this is probably where Oasis would be, since he was somewhat the principal songwriter, and he's always kind of like the musical director. And I would have to honestly say there's some really interesting things on here, and A lot of danceable kind of music, which I never thought he would kind of get to, but I mean, he was always into that kind of stuff. But to put it in his albums, it really, and it works. So, Noel Gallagher, High Flying Birds, and another band that's like that is number 63, Ned's Atomic Dustbin. Now, this is their first album, and this is an interesting band. And this is music on vinyl. This came out in '91. It's like dance music with punk, and it's non-stop. I mean, it's just the drummer here is described as I really like the credits on here. It's all Dan the fast drumming man. Okay, and there's 2 bass players on here, and yeah, it's just as like. There's no slow songs on here. It's just on and on. Just Kill Your Television was the song that what this album is famous for, and really great one. If you haven't heard Ned's Atomic Dustbin, I suggest you check it out. Now we're going to something a little bit more darker. We're going to 62. We're going to PJ Harvey's debut, somewhat. She had 2 other albums with the PJ Harvey Trio, but this is the first one with just her album, so it's pretty much a solo album, I guess. It is weird. It's sort of just like, this is kind of like, there's some darker themes on this album. Meet the Monster is really great. To Bring You My Love. It's just a lot of tension in her music. There's... on these songs, there'll be like no drums, but there'll be like organs and her guitar playing, of course, and then it'll be really dirty guitar, somewhat like what St. Vincent would be doing now, and she'd do these little whisper things on here, which Billie Eilish would be doing now, that kind of vocal style, that kind of whispering thing, and she was kind of doing it back then. This is in the 90s. In 95, and it had the song Down by the Water, if you don't remember that album, that song. And this is somewhat like the video. She's just like kind of, the music video, she's just kind of like drowning or swimming, but it's a really kind of dark album, and it's really cool. I liked it. So PJ Harvey makes this, and now we go to number 62, and the Psychedelic Furs. The Furs make it here. This is a great trio. Heartbreak Beat was on here, of course, and the original version of Pretty in Pink with the saxophone. You can't go wrong with that. Yeah, this is some good Richard Butler, John Ashton, and Tim Butler. Okay, so there they are. And moving on to another trio, we have the Thompson Twins. Okay, this is their first one with Love on Your Side and Lies. Tom Bailey, of course, that guy, and Alana Curie, and she does percussions and stuff. She just has a whole array of just like cowbells and little things. And she just kind of just sits there and just rocks out on them. And then you have Joe Leeway. He's this guy, and there's some guest stars on here too. You got Grace Jones on backing vocals. So this was not a really successful album in America to be the next one with Doctor and Hold Me Now. But this one, yeah, it's really energetic, upbeat, and I like this one. This is the one that made it for me. Now we're going into number 59. And we're going back to the hard rock stuff. We're going to U.F.O. And this album, Lights Out, has my favorite songs on there. Too Hot to Handle, Just Another Suicide is great. Of course, the title track, Lights Out. And the ballad here, Love to Love, great song. So, yes, these guys made it, U.F.O. And some more hard rock as we go into Humble Pie. So this is Steve Marriott after You know, he was from the Small Faces. He kind of grew his hair. This is 1972. Yes, very heavy, bluesy rock. Nice harmonica. Come on, they didn't even Come On Everybody by Eddie Cochran. They just do like a really. They made their version their own, which is really cool. I did it. I remember first hearing it and not going, "What is this?" And then because the melody is kind of the same, but it's kind of slowed down and just, it's rocked out. It's really cool. Not in the way that he did it, because he was more of a rockabilly guy, Eddie Cochran. Well, this was more just a heavy bluesy kind of thing, and this whole album is great from top to bottom, front to back, hot and nasty. You're So Good to Me, The Fixer, great songs. Humble Pie, Smokin'. Okay, so now we're going to two more, and number 57, we have Coldplay. Okay, so this is their second album, A Rush of Blood to the Head. First one was Parachutes, I believe, and they had the song Yellow. That's the one that kind of like, okay, this is a cool song. He's just kind of wandering around on the beach by himself. But I think this one was the one that really grabbed me as far as like, from beginning to end. I love the album. My favorite song on here is God Put a Smile Upon Your Face. And Clocks, Chorus Scientist. There's a lot of great songs on here. Nice little gatefold. Them working. So Chris Martin, I think this is for me, this is the one that really I felt like was I got into Coldplay, but then I kind of just like tuned out after that Viva thing. I kind of just like lost kind of interest in them. But yes, I do like this album, and that is A Rush of Blood to the Head. And our last one here on number 56 is Yes's Closer to the Edge. Back to 1972. It all goes back to 1972. And this is just comprised of like 3 songs. Closer to the Edge, they're all conceptual pieces, long, kind of proggy conceptual pieces. And I really like the third one, Siberian Katru, which is, it sounds kind of funky, like a trampled underfoot kind of thing, and some good acoustic playing. And yes, this is I thought they're one of their masterpieces. They got a lot of masterpieces. So that made it down to number 56. That's Yes, Closer to the Edge. And so I'll be back with another video with 15 more. So leave me a comment below on what did you thought. What were your thoughts on these 15? As we're getting closer and closer to the top 10. And with that, I'll shut up and I'll see you guys on the next video. Bye.